Hey, everybody. It is the week of August 22nd, and this is Market Mondays. I'm Justin, and I'm here with Fernando. What's up, Fernando? How are you?
Amazing. Always glad to be here. Today, I want to start by talking a little further about the price movements of the market. Last week, for those of you that saw our podcast, I talked a little bit about what I was expecting from Bitcoin. I believe last week we were at 25K. Today we're at 21K.
You called it, man.
I called it. Yeah. No, and I still think that it's still gonna go further below.
I
I
agree.
think this is just the beginning. And I mean, again, it's not because Bitcoin is not working or there's something wrong. It's just market manipulation. You know, the whales know that massive adoption is coming. I actually am gonna talk a little bit about a partnership that happened between BlackRock and Coinbase. And yeah, I mean, before the big institutions come into the market, they want to push the price of Bitcoin all the way down, not just Bitcoin, all the cryptocurrencies. They want to
Mhm.
push all the way down so they can, get a lot of these cryptos at a good price, and then it's to the moon.
Yeah.
And the process of this, of pushing the price down takes weeks, even months. So
Well,
yes,
additionally, on top of that, we have a lot of unprecedented geopolitical stuff happening in the world.
yeah.
We have a lot of economic stuff happening in the world. I'm kind of looking at it right now as kind of the perfect storm. I don't think we've ever had this many things happening in the world at one time, economically and geopolitically. And I think that that obviously is a major pressure on the market as well.
I agree. Yeah, yeah. So the more stuff that's going in the world, the more market movement there is. Because if oil prices are going up and your inflation is going up and the house market is crashing, it affects the market. And not
Yep.
just cryptocurrencies, it affects the stock market. So if we go to the stock market right now, we can see that all the way from the top, I mean, we already lost some points.
Yeah.
And we were kind of like doing this is like a bear rally, like a fake breakout, but we can already see that it's coming down again.
Hmm.
So yeah, like I was saying, on the long term, I mean, super bullish. But right now, on the short term, I'm bearish. However, I feel like we at most maybe we have 3 more months of going down. Could be less. We could be like 1 month away from the bottom. And yeah, so I was saying right now we're at 21K. Then we have a support at 19K. This is our next support. Then we have a support at 16K, which is somewhere around here. Let me draw the line. And then we have a support at 12K. So I think it's almost definite that we're gonna touch. What? Scratch that. I know for sure we're gonna touch 19K. Then we're gonna touch 16K. And once we touch 16K, if it holds, then it's over. We reach the bottom, and it's we're on our way. If it doesn't, then yeah, absolutely, we're gonna get 12K. We're gonna have to wait until we arrive to this moment. We have to see market indicators. We need to see. Let me open the heat volume. Here we go. If we see that we have a change in the trend of the market, if we see that the volume has gone positive, then maybe the trend has broken and we can start going up. But we
Hmm.
would have to check, once the moment arrives, we have to see if the trend is still positive, if it's still negative or positive. So
Yeah.
once we reach 16K, we have to check the indicators and see if we're going up or we're going down. And if we look
Yeah.
right now at the indicators, we still have we had a massive spike of volume about 3 or 4 days ago, and it was negative. So it means that we're still on the trend to go further below.
Yeah, I think you're dead on. The only thing I disagree with you on is I don't think it's going to be a couple of months. I think it's going to be much longer than that with everything happening geopolitically. Unfortunately, I think this winter is going to be pretty rough for most of the world, and I think that's really going to affect the markets. But yeah, I mean, you called it last week. It's pretty amazing to see that slide over the weekend and how it just. I mean, we lost $4,000 in Bitcoin over of like 3 days. It was pretty crazy. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if we see 12K or even less. It's I think we've got a while to go before the bottom.
Yeah, well, the thing is, the reason why I say that maybe maximum 3 months is because crypto usually is on its own cycle. So it doesn't usually do what the stock market does. However, this time the movement kind of like was on track. So the stock market and the crypto market, for whatever reason, they crossed the movement. However, they are not usually pegged to each other. So
Right.
usually the market cycles, they last for crypto, they last 4 years. So if we zoom back to the last bull market, we touched the highest point on December 2017. Then the lowest point was a year later.
Yep.
It was, let me see, on November. So the highest point was on December, and the lowest point was on November of 2018. And it's been like that always. If we go to the bull market of before 2017, we see that the highest point is, oh, let me get my glasses because I'm getting a little bit blind. So yeah, so the highest
December.
point, yeah, December of 2013.
Yep.
And the lowest point, let me see, it was on January of 2015.
So
So
that
it was,
was
yeah, so it was about a year and 1 month.
yeah. Okay, absolutely.
So that's, and if you can see the market cycle every time is getting shorter because now there's adoption. So back in the day, we just had white papers and we just had paper wallets and stuff. Now we have cryptocurrencies with actual utility. We have smart contracts. We have a lot going on now. So I feel like the market cycles are getting shorter, and that's a good thing because that means that the bear market might be almost over. So we'll see. I mean, like you said, there's a lot going on outside in the world. The only way to really see what's going to happen is by waiting for it to happen. But in my personal opinion, I think that max 3 more months of bear market, and then we start climbing, all the way up, but gradually. It's not going to be like 2021 that from one day to another, Bitcoin went from 6K to 40K or something like that. It's going to be, slowly, but we're going to get there.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't know if we have time today to talk about Ethereum. Do you think we still have time to talk about Ethereum, or do you want to do it for the next podcast? Because I know
we can talk about Ethereum real quick. Take a couple of minutes. Sure.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I just want to do some quick technical analysis for Ethereum to tell our viewers where I think Ethereum is going price-wise. So here we touched the first support at 15K. We went to 15K, I think yesterday.
1500, you mean?
Yeah. I'm sorry, yeah, 1500. I'm sorry. And we bounced from there. So right now we're at 1600. We're probably going to stay here for a couple of days until Bitcoin starts moving down once more. Then we have a support. Our next support is here at 1400, which most likely we're probably gonna hit there by next week. The next support level is here at $1,000. And if we do break this level, which I believe we will, once we touch the 19K mark for Bitcoin, then it's all downhill from here, all the way to the next support, which is here at 500. And the bottom, I believe, is going to be around 300. So anywhere from 300 to 500 to buy Ethereum would be an amazing place.
Mm-hmm.
And we're probably, like I said, we're probably gonna see that in the next couple of weeks, months. Like I said, in my personal opinion, maximum of 3-month period, we're gonna see these levels. So for those of you listening to the podcast, this is the perfect buy zone, anywhere between 500 and 300. This is a perfect spot to buy Ethereum. And yeah, so the best way to know if we already entered a good buying spot is by using the relative strength index. I'm gonna close this one because I don't need this one. So yeah, once we hit below the 30% mark, that means that the asset is oversold.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally am expecting the RSI to reach about 16%. And the reason why is because in previous recessions that we had, the stock market reached all the way to, let me show you, okay, to about 19 or 18%. And
Mm-hmm.
these RSI levels, oh no, I'm sorry, these are from 2018. Let me go further back. Okay, let's go to 2008. Hold on.
In 2008, I feel like it was like 23 or something, or 25.
Yeah, here we go. So in 2008,
Ooh,
we
lower
had
than that.
16%.
Yeah, wow.
That's what I'm expecting to see an oversold level of between 20 and 60%. So once we see the RSI for Ethereum and Bitcoin to touch those levels, I don't know why it's not showing. Give me a moment. Here we go. Hold on. Okay, so once we see, Ethereum and Bitcoin to reach the RSI of about 20 or 16%,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's going to be the bottom. And like I said, for Ethereum, it's most likely going to be between $500 and $300. And for Bitcoin, it's most likely going to be between $12,000 and $10,000. And we're gonna most likely reach those levels within the next 1 month to 3-month period. And we're gonna see. Only time will tell.
Yeah, we shall see. Really interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Do you
cool.
want to add anything to that?
No, I mean, I definitely think that we are in for quite a ride here. And yeah, it's really going to be interesting to see what the winter and the fall brings us for all markets, not only crypto, but yeah, it's going to be really interesting. And people just have to stay educated, and this is why we do this show. And just to remind everybody, we are providing financial education. This is not financial advice. You can do whatever you want. You make the most educated decision for yourself. We just want to make sure that you are, you're in the know, and you have, understanding and an idea of what other people are thinking. And yeah, it's crazy, but I don't think anybody can predict the market down to the 100% all the
Yeah,
time. It's just impossible. So
absolutely.
we'll see what happens. Well, yeah, well, let's take a little look at meta price action. And thankfully enough, we don't have to worry about any We don't have to worry about any volatility when it comes to Meta. We're pretty much holding at 376.44. And the chart looks pretty nice. We kind of were up and down. Of course, the rest of the market influences Meta a fraction, but not a lot. But it's been pretty stable. It's been pretty stable for the last few months, which is really exciting to me.
Yeah, absolutely. The price of Meta One is holding super strong. If we compare it to the stock market or Bitcoin, it's holding up super well.
Yeah, it really is, especially when all this other crazy stuff like like all like tornado cash and
Yeah.
which is just I still am thinking about that story. Such a nut story. And all of these DeFi projects going under, and all the craziness that's been going on, and Luna, Terra, and all that stuff. It's just amazing to see. So, yeah, cool. And so you wanted to talk a little bit about. I know I promised everyone last week we're going to talk about Biden's executive order from March, and also a little bit about the difference between CBDCs and crypto. But before we get there, I think you wanted to talk a little bit about phishing, email phishing, right?
Yes, absolutely. So the reason why I really want to talk about this, how do I get to share my screen again?
Yeah, just go ahead and try to share, and then there should be a little thing that pops up that says, do you want to share, yes or no, or something like that.
Can you see my screen or no?
No. Here, I'll stop sharing.
Okay, yeah.
All right, let's try that again.
Okay, share screen. Perfect. Okay, let me close this.
There we go. Perfect.
So I'm gonna show you guys from my personal email. Do you see the amount of phishing emails I have? Like, look at these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yep.
So I get tons of these emails, and I never open them because first I already marked them as junk, so they are right here to my junk email. And I already know they're phishing because, for example, MetaMask is a decentralized platform. They don't really have customer service, so they're never gonna ask for anything. No one's really gonna ask for anything, and if they do, you're gonna hear about it on their personal website or on Twitter or whatever. And so it's not the case.
Yep.
So if you see these emails, the thing to look out for, I mean, if you open them, the first thing I would tell you to look out for, like this is saying that it's from the Ethereum Foundation, and it's not. It's absolutely not. So if you look here at the email address that sent this email, it is contact@airlinemilescardwatch.com. I mean, that doesn't make sense at all. Why an airline company is going to be sending this? And then it's the email is saying that if I do staking with them, I'm gonna get a 25% yearly profit, which this is not true. This is obviously a scam. So I'm gonna delete it. I also got one from Trust Wallet. Again here, this looks almost real because it says Trust Wallet support at trustwallet.axa. Now this is how I know this is not real, because Trust Wallet does not use .axa.
Yeah.
So whenever in doubt, whenever you see these and it looks almost real, I would recommend you to go to their Telegram or to their website or wherever, and just ask what the real support email address is. I know from personal experience, this is not it. Their actual handle, I think, is support@trustwallet.io. So this is very important. Never click on these links, verify your wallet or whatever, because you're gonna get hacked. So I'm gonna delete this one. Then I got one from MetaMask, and it's saying that they think that my account was hacked and blah blah blah. Please click here to verify your account. It is obviously a scam. If you can see here at the email address, it's support@stephencraft.ca. This has absolutely nothing to do with MetaMask. And I got a bunch of other emails like these. I'm just gonna go ahead and delete them because I know it's, it's just some guys trying to hack me or add a Trojan to my computer. That's what I wanted to talk about with you and with everyone watching, to be very careful with these kind of phishing emails, because they're just trying to get you to download stuff to infect your computer with a virus, or they're trying to get your private keys. Sometimes they ask you for your 12-seat private key or whatever, and you click on the link, you type in your private key, and that's it.
Yep.
That's all it takes for you to get hacked. So that's all I wanted to let you guys know. Very careful about this stuff, and always double check who is sending that email to you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really important. It's very important. Also, just make sure, that if you're not sure, read the, body of the email. A lot of the times, they're, like you said, they're offering some ridiculous return or something like that. That is not, it couldn't even be possible. Yeah, and I've even heard of stories of people getting phone calls from scammers saying that they represent whatever big exchange and they need their private key for whatever reason or whatever. So it's really important to make sure that you verify and make sure that it's actually like what you're saying, it's real. And there's some really easy ways to do that, especially these days. So yeah, really good. So let's get into CBDCs versus crypto. So this is I think this is really, really, really important because what I hear all the time from a lot of people is, I don't know if you sort of notice this too, but especially I feel like on socials and online, people who are kind of not educated about the difference between these two or about crypto in general. I hear a lot about it's not good. It's crypto is really bad. It's making our system digital, and that's really bad. I'm sure you've heard that, right, Fernando? Yeah. And I don't think that these people are, most of them, I don't really think they have bad intentions. I just think that they're not educated about the difference between different kinds of crypto, and also the big difference is a CBDC versus crypto. So let's start talking about what is a CBDC. A CBDC stands for central bank digital currency. So this is it's not a new concept. I mean, it's the idea has been around since at least for 10 years, but it's sort of now just coming into fruition, where a lot of the world's governments are starting to really take this seriously, because like you said, there's a massive amount of adoption that's happening with cryptocurrency. So of course, the old school legacy system wants to get their hand in the pot. That's always what they want to do. So let's kind of go through some major differences between a CBDC and cryptocurrency. So first and foremost, the biggest thing is the architecture and the blockchain type. So a CBDC doesn't run on a decentralized public blockchain, as of course they don't want transparency when it comes to what's going on behind the scenes, just like the regular banking system now. So the blockchain is basically a private blockchain, where what they call a permission blockchain. So it's a type of ledger that is totally different from decentralized ledgers. A permission blockchain is basically the organization or the group that created the blockchain can basically manipulate via smart contracts and other things specific requirements for people to be able to participate or have privileges on the blockchain. So In a CBC network, basically the the central bank is the one who creates it, and then the participating financial institutions are the ones that are hosting the nodes on behalf of their clients. So it's very closed circuit, and not something that I'm too big of a fan of. I think it's the opposite of what we're trying to do, right?
And it's even in the name, central bank digital currency. So do we want more centralized stuff that doesn't work, that gives power to the government to keep doing the same old crap that they're doing to everyone all the time? Or do we want something decentralized to give power back to the people?
Exactly, 100%. Because here is the concerning thing about a CBDC network. That means that they can do things like, if you're using a CBDC and you are using to buy and pay, and they decide that you go out on social media and you say something about how you don't support something, or you're going to donate to some group that the government doesn't like, then the government can actually stop you from even sending that payment to that person. That's the scary part about CBDCs. It's the same sort of thing with what they're doing today with Corona and everything. I mean, they can wake up one day and say, oh, only white cars can drive on Mondays. And if you're in any other color car, you can't drive because we're all trying to save the environment. Well, you decide to get in your blue car and drive down the street and get some gas. Well, your CBDC wallet doesn't work at the gas station because you were in a blue car. It's nuts. Like, it sounds crazy, but it's very possible. It's very
already
possible.
happening.
And they would do stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, do you remember what happened in Canada with the truckers?
Yeah.
That they froze. So these truckers were striking due to coronavirus restrictions or whatever, and they were asking for donations. And if you donated money to the truckers, now you were a terrorist, and all the money that the truckers received to their bank accounts, it was frozen. And I mean, just because they didn't agree with what the government was saying, and who's to say that the government doesn't have dubious intentions and that they're right or wrong, so they can do the same thing with a CBDC.
Exactly, 100%. But it's taking it to another level, because if let's just say next year we go to a completely digital CBDC, they start to phase out real cash. That means that they are able to track and see every single transaction you make. They are able to, in real time, stop you from doing something, et cetera, et cetera. And it's the tornado cash story on a major level, right? Because imagine if we had a CBDC right now and that this tornado cash thing happened. They could freeze everybody who's ever even thought about using tornado cash's funds totally, right? For a who knows how much time. It's a crazy idea. The other big thing that a CBDC does is there's no anonymity. So in decentralized currency, you have anonymity. You are able to observe a blockchain, just like Meta blockchain. You can go on the Meta exchange regardless of if you're a Meta member or not. You can see every single transaction on there. You can see the price action. You can see it all. But with a CBDC, that is not the case. You have to have privileges to even be a part of the network. Those privileges can be taken away at any time. And additionally, there's no anonymity, because it's going to be connected to, you're going to be connected to a bank account. So your name, your information is going to be associated with that. And and they are calling the shots and the rules. And also the other big thing is that, on a cryptocurrency decentralized network, all participants in the crypto network are created equal. And there are no restrictions on accessing the blockchain. And also there are we delegate the decision making and the consensus model of the decentralized blockchain is the people, right? The people make the decisions. So if we decide that we want to change something, we all decide it together. That's not the way a CBDC network works. The central bank is the government central bank is making the rules, and they can throw the rules out the window anytime they want to and do whatever they want. So it's just like you said, it's, are we choosing the more of the same, or are we choosing something that is giving the power back to the people?
Absolutely. I agree.
So now, a lot of people would probably start to think, well, this is all great and everything, but this is probably something that's far into the future. And, it's going to be a few years where this happens, whatever. Well, unfortunately, that's not the case. So before we get to the world in general, I wanted to talk about the United States specifically. And because typically what happens in the United States ends up permeating and happening in the rest of the world. And unfortunately, in most cases, but Biden basically signed an executive order back in March, Executive 14067, ensuring responsible development of digital assets. And this is basically the creation of a CBDC. So I'm not going to go through this entire thing because it's long, but I wanted to sort of point out a few different sections in this that talk a bit about really what they're doing here. Because this is not far-fetched. It's something that is happening today, and it literally is it's a means of control. I mean, I was just watching the Rich Dad podcast today, and he had a guest on there, an economist, and they were talking about sort of the three things that they go after to control, which is energy, food, and money. And money is the biggest one, right? Because it takes away in a world where everything is based on commerce and you basically have to pay to live. You don't have any freedom if you don't have access to money, or you don't have a job, or a way to make money, right? To be able to support yourself and your family. So, section 2 of this talks a bit about how they are going to implement this. Specifically, C says the growth in decentralized financial ecosystems, peer-to-peer payment activity, and obscure blockchain letters without controls to mitigate illicit finance could also present additional market and national security risks in the future. Now, Fernando, anytime they mention national security, they pretty much can do whatever they want.
Yeah, of course.
Which is nuts. And I just want to point out here, I found this article, which I thought was really interesting. The Bitcoin.com interviewed a DEA agent that specifically said that illicit activity is no longer dominant in Bitcoin. So they said when she started as a DEA agent back in 2013, there was a pretty significant amount. She says 90%. I don't believe that number, but it was a pretty significant amount of illicit activity happening with cryptocurrency. Now,
I don't think that number is true either. I think they're just giving negative publicity to Bitcoin, because it doesn't make sense to use Bitcoin to do illegal stuff, because the transaction is public and traceable. So literally you have to be the most dumb person in the universe to do that. Yeah,
I agree with you. But I do like what she said, where she basically said Bitcoin in illegal activities has shrunk to about 10%. Now that number is probably even lower. But I just want to point out the fact that they're specifically talking about that, and they say this many times within this executive order, that there's a lot of illicit finance going on, which that's obviously not the case. And for exactly the reason why we put it, because why is decentralized blockchain technology so amazing? Because it's transparent.
Yeah, you really need to be the dumbest criminal in the universe to decide to do illicit stuff with Bitcoin because it is 100% traceable and it
Yep.
all leads back to you and anyone can see it. Even your mom, if it goes to a computer and looks up a transaction, she can find it. So why would anyone use Bitcoin for doing illicit stuff? But on the other hand, the US dollar or fiat currency, you can just grab a piece of paper, you give it to someone, and it's untraceable. So it's that's why blockchain and Bitcoin and all that's amazing. But at the same time, it's scary if we use it from CBDC,
Yeah, exactly. And that argument about digital currencies, crypto specifically, not CBDCs, but crypto being used for illicit activities is exactly what you put it. I actually, one of our technical team members, when he first came on and we were doing an interview with him, he told the story. I love this story because it's so exciting to me. So he got involved in a project, so on and so forth. The project ended up going under, whatever. It didn't work out. And the project was completely above water, completely legit. One day, two FBI agents show up at his house. Of course, it's the FBI. And they start asking him all these questions about the project, blah, 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 and like getting in his business. And one of the FBI agents kind of commented to him, man, I hate you crypto guys. It's all illegal activity and la, 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 la. and so this team member, he basically started educating them about he basically said to them, do you know that during there was something like every 9 out of $10 bills in Miami in the 1970s was laced with cocaine?
Yeah, I heard that too. I've heard that too before.
Yeah. And just the fact that people think that cryptocurrency is just used for all this illicit stuff, when fiat money is used way more for illicit activity than crypto is.
Absolutely.
But anyway, I digress. So we move on to section to section 2, number F, letter F. And what I wanted to point out here is just the way that they're talking about cryptocurrency and sort of the words that they use around developing and designing and implementing in a responsible manner that includes privacy and security in their architecture, integrates features and controls that defend us against illicit exploitation, and reduces negative climate impacts and environmental pollution. So start thinking about this. Not that, it's like, not that I have my quandaries about Bitcoin and mining and all those things, as I do think that it strains environment in a way, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of electricity used, so on and so forth. But I'm also a big advocate of freedom, and people should have freedom on this. So imagine if we have a CBDC where they go, oh, if you're mining Bitcoin, you get all your money frozen because they're using, mining technology that's really not good for the environment. So
I can see that happening, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And so it's the kind of thing where the administration is basically saying, well, we are going to basically decide. We're not going to ask anybody else. We're just going to decide what's good and what's not in crypto or in digital currency, and we're going to put those restrictions on a CBDC. So if you're involved in this or if you're involved in that, et cetera, you can't use the CBDC, etc. So it's crazy. And so the next section that I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about is section 4, letter A, and letter I. So this next section talks a little bit about the development of a CBDC and kind of what they are specifically looking to prevent. So it says sovereign money is at the core of a well-functioning financial system. My administration places the highest urgency on research and development efforts in the potential design and deployment options of a United States CBDC. These efforts should include assessments of possible benefits and risks for customers, investors, businesses, financial stability, and systemic risk, payment systems, national security, and the exercises of human rights, financial inclusion, and equity. Now, this all sounds great on paper, blah, 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 the words they use, but just notice how many times they use the word national security. Notice how many times they use the word financial risk, because the problem that we've seen, at least from my viewpoint, is all of these government agencies really attacking decentralized currencies. And if they are allowed to be given the power to decide what is a good decentralized currency, or what is a good digital currency and what's not a good digital currency, and people actually listen to that, then we're in big trouble. And so I think it's really important for people to understand and kind of get educated around what the world's governments are doing with CBDCs, because it's really important that we all stand up and we exactly like what you said, talk and stand up for decentralized currencies, for private cryptocurrency, because that's really, really, really important right now.
And not just currencies, also governments. I think we have to impose, decentralized governments, because the way I see these, the government not only tells you what to do with your money, but they also decide what's national security, what's risky, and all that. And it's not really a matter of national security. They are deciding it's a matter of national security because that's their way of saying this is this way, and if you don't follow the rules, you're a terrorist.
Yep.
So this is not just about crypto anymore. It's also about decision taking, and we need to find a way to decentralize the government as well, because they have all the power and they're not allowing us to make any decisions. Even if we all get together and say, hey, we don't agree with this, it's like, oh well, we're the government and we don't care. So I mean, come on.
I 100% agree with you. Absolutely 100%. It's really important. This is about our freedom. It's bigger than just digital currency. It's about our freedom. And, we have to be able to make sure, because you're right. They use that, especially in the United States, they use that term national security as a blanket to do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And that is the thing. And that is the way that they're going. I really feel like in the United States, that is the way that they're going to introduce the CBDC. They're going to come from a national security perspective and say, we have to be sovereign and secure and blah, blah, blah. And due to national security, we are introducing a CBDC. And it's not going to be anything. And this is the thing is, people, we have a choice. We have a choice to support decentralized digital currencies, cryptocurrency, and not support CBDCs. And this is really, really important for everybody to understand. The other thing about this executive order is it's not just talking about, we should do this and this is how we do it. We're going into detail about what he specifically wants the government to do. So within 120 days, they want to have a legislative proposal. Now, let's just look at the definitions of the word legislative and proposal. Legislative means involving and relating to the process of making and passing laws, and proposal is a plan or an idea. So this is basically a bill that they want the Secretary of the Treasury and the Chairman of the Federal Reserve to propose to the administration, and work to basically come up with regulatory information and proposals from the FTC, the SEC, the CTFC, the federal banking governors board, et cetera, et cetera. And this report shall include policy recommendations, including potential regulatory and legislative actions appropriate to protect United States consumers, meaning themselves, investors, meaning themselves. It's really crazy how much control they can have if we allow a CBDC like this to happen. And it's just like anywhere else in the world. So This bill goes on and on and on and talks a lot about many other things, but what I really wanted to point out here is just the importance of um, making sure that, like you said, Fernando, what are we going to support? Are we going to support cryptocurrency decentralization, or are we going to support centralization? And this is not something that is new. It's not something that Biden's just coming up with right now in the United States and saying, oh, we're just going to start doing this now. The Federal Reserve and also the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation, which is basically the settlements facility for the Federal Reserve, has been studying this for quite a long time through two different projects, one called Project Lithium, one called Project Hamilton. So they have been working to develop a prototype to test the ability of US clearing and settlement infrastructure to support a federal issued central bank digital currency. And Project Hamilton is basically a joint effort between through MIT, a division there called the Digital Currency Initiative, and the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. So this is stuff that they have been working on and talking about for quite a long time. It's not a new thing. We just had Powell come out and say, hey, listen, last year this was, hey, listen, we are doing a digital dollar. It's a high priority project. And in 2022 in January, let me see if I can find it, the Federal Reserve came out with this publication called The US Dollar and in the Age of Digital Transformation. And in Appendix A, they talk a bit about how they have already been engaged in a number of experiments relating to digital currency, including a hypothetical CBDC. Now, if this was just happening in the United States, maybe I would go, well, maybe we're a few years off. But if we were talking about at the beginning, this is a really cool site called CBDC Tracker. And it basically shows a world map and all of the different countries that are either researching, in proof of concept, pilot, etc. So you can see that a lot of the world is in some kind of place with a CBDC. Canada already has one in pilot, and they're in research for another one. Jamaica has launched one. Russia is in the midst of a proof of concept. China has already done one. Many transactions were paid with yen during the Olympics. And Australia is in the middle of research and proof of concept. There were several countries in South Africa. South Africa already has a pilot program on a CBDC. There's a ton of them. So this is something that is going to happen. And it really is imperative and important for all of us to stand up against this and to educate people on the difference between CBDCs and digital decentralized cryptocurrencies.
That's super scary. I didn't know the existence of that website, but it's super scary.
Yeah, so we'll put this in the show notes, and it's really important, everybody. And this is the reason why we built Meta One the way we built it. It's the reason why we built it in a private jurisdiction. This is the reason why we're working so hard to support digital currency, decentralized crypto, to create a new economy. Because this is the thing. And I've been thinking more and more about this, kind of on a larger scale. Kind of about the question of, well, how do we fix this mess? We know that our centralized financial system is corrupt. We know the governments of the world are corrupt. We know that 1% of the population has all the power, at least the illusion of power. But how do we fix this? And for a while, I was kind of the camp of, we just need to burn it all down and start from scratch. But I'm now kind of the mindset, and I have been this way for a few years, but more and more so I think that it's just about coming up with a better solution and offering that choice to everybody in the world, just like we're doing at Meta One.
Yeah.
You know, do you want to get forced into using a CBDC, or do you want to start using centralized digital currencies? Not just as something fun that you invest in, but as a way and a means of transacting on a regular basis. Because the more and more people that do that, the more adoption there's going to be, and the more we're going to be able to stand up against things like centralized digital currencies. What do you think about that?
I completely agree. I just feel like I was saying earlier, that it's not just about the currency. We also need to update our ways of consensus. We also need to integrate a voting system that uses decentralization in order to make decisions in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the government just goes out there and makes a CBDC, I mean, that's just it. I mean, what can you do about it? But if we
Yep.
do make we make a governance system that is completely decentralized, and by getting the voting power of everyone, we vote on making decisions and not allowing the government to just do whatever they want. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's a huge step towards the right direction.
Yes. 100%. 100%. I totally, absolutely agree with you. Yeah. So, I think that this has been a jam-packed show. It's been super exciting. If you guys have any ideas for topics on what you want us to talk about, please let us know. You can shoot a comment, and also just remember to like and subscribe and share. That's how more people can get to know about the program. And we're just trying to share information, educate. We understand that there's so much going on in the world, and there's just so little time. Everyone else has so many other things that they're doing. So, we're focused on really sharing our ideas and facts and information, just so you all can make your decision individually. Yeah. Fernando, do you have any last words before we wrap up here?
Just, I would like to thank everyone for listening to this podcast, and I hope to see you again next week.
Awesome. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care.